All right, let's go ahead and cut through the crap. Talk about this, and this probably is going to piss a couple of my followers off. Will I be voting for Donald Trump in November? Yes, I will. But the username is cut the crap. So when he shits the bed, we kind of got to point it out. Last night, both candidates had several different factors they had to cover throughout the debate. First, they had objectives that they had to hit, concepts and ideals they had to convey, ways that they had to appear, and then there's some wild cards that we're going to throw in there just for good measure. In terms of objectives, Donald Trump needed to draw Kamala Harris out, attack her on her positions, both past and present, and make her sit down at the table of Biden and say that the country currently is the way it is because of her and him. To some extent, he accomplished his task. It was scattered throughout the speech, but because most of the time he was going off on certain status of the country issues, he failed to tie those directly into her and Biden through a knockout punch. He hinted at it, he intimated it, not that one cohesive blow moment. And on top of it, when he tries to sit her down at the table, he does it by saying, she is Joe Biden. She's Joe Biden, allowing her the way of saying, I'm clearly not Joe Biden, I'm Kamala Harris, which in the end I would argue actually works for her and was very, very poorly phrased. Now, Harris's objectives were different. She needed to get under Donald's skin just a little bit and prick away slowly, drawing out that maverick braggadocio individual so that he goes nuts on camera. On top of that, she needed to distance herself from her previous political statements while also laying the foundation that, hey, everything that you're complaining about with me and Joe is us cleaning up your mess. It's things that you screwed up on that we're now putting back together. And we're doing a pretty decent job. We can do more, but I think we are the future and you're in the past and we don't want to go back to you. I hate to say it. She did a decent job on most of those points. No knockout blows delivered by Harris. There is one, we'll get to it, but no true knockout blows that changes the metric one way or another delivered by Harris. Now let's talk briefly about appearances. Remember how I said that Harris was laying down verbal landmines, trying to draw out that Trump maverick? I hate to say this, I think she was largely successful. Go watch the first 15 minutes of that debate. She starts laying down those landmines, they start pricking away at Don, and you can see that face start to turn red. You can see him start to lean forward and that eyebrows start to furrow. And his voice goes up. Instead of the calm, cool, collected Donald, we got the wild man maverick Donald. Now, that's fine for his core base. But remember, Donald is at the point where he's already got his core base. They were already going to vote for him. And now he has to appeal to other voters. And that appearance is not going to help him. Now, let's talk about the steaming dumpster fire that is the Kamala Harris facial expression dance of the first 15, 20 minutes of that debate, and I would argue lasted the majority of the debate. A good actor knows how to use facial expressions. A simple draw of the brow can mean something, confusion. A simple smirk of the lip, confidence or cockiness. But when you're doing your facial expressions like, that's not a good acting job. It doesn't make you look like you're actually feeling something. You look like you have gas. And for most of the debate, I'm not gonna lie, Harris looked like she'd had a double beefy cheese burrito at Taco Bell. I'm not gonna lie, that's what I exactly. So neither one did any favors for themselves on the appearance scale. Kamala goes out and kind of looks like she doesn't know how to act, like she's not a functioning human being, like she's acting and overacting. And Donald has that maverick come out, which is going to be great for his core base. I'm sure they missed that element of him. But in this case, when you're trying to attract voters that weren't already going to vote for you, probably not going to work all that well. Now, earlier in this video, I kind of misspoke. I said that there were a couple of knockout blows. That's going a little bit far. There were some heavy hits that landed on Donald, and it was really weird to watch because it was delivered by Donald himself. The first is when the moderator brought up the question of how do you characterize her racial demographic. You made some statements in that regards, yada, yada. And Donald Trump put out, I don't care what a racial demographic is, but I said that she claims that she's black. She only recently discovered it. And she puts out, when you're trying to appeal to a voter base, a large portion of which are women who will band together when you say anything about their sexual proclivities. And the second is when the moderator brought up the ACA. She said, You've been trying to get this done. You've never gotten it done. It's been 9 years. You two are delaying on things or have delayed on things. Do you have a plan? Do you have a plan? And she held his feet successfully to the fire. And keep in mind, Donald's been eating all these landmines, being disparaged on his character. And he blurts out, I got part of a plan. You see how that looks? Now, that's not to say that Donald didn't land any blows on Kamala. He did. If you watch his closing speech when he rounds everything up and tries to give his vision of what's going on, he's more calm, he's more cool, he's more collected. He did a decent job of laying out all of his points when it came to her administration and to her political positions. It's just too bad we didn't see that during the debate. Finally, let's talk about the moderators. These moderators clearly were going after Donald Trump with both guns blazing and were largely deferent to Kamala's angle on things. They held Donald's feet to the fire much more than the previous candidates, and Kamala largely got away with whatever she wanted to say. That's just my impression by watching it. So to summarize, was there that cosmic kill shot moment where one candidate or the other is no longer viable? No, there wasn't. Was it a night where one candidate achieved their objectives and did a better performance than the other? I hate to say it, but yeah, they did. Donald Trump did not have his best night, and Kamala Harris did an okay job. Now, one rumor has reached my ears that the Kamala Harris campaign is proposing yet another round of debates. I believe it's in October. If I were Donald Trump's team, I would say jump at the chance, go for it, because we want a better performance than we had tonight. If I were on Harris's team and he put a gun to my head and made me advisor, I'd say, hey man, you don't want to do that. You've done your 2 debates, and now you and the news media, and you can control the narrative. Do not give Donald Trump the chance to go and get blows on you, politically speaking. Because November is right around the corner. The boxing match between these two over the small pool of undecided voters is going to get hot, and Kamala does not want to lower her guard at all, and Trump would love nothing more than to deliver that uppercut blow. I'll talk to you next time. We'll talk about another thing that I find interesting. I'm out.